Так.
And nice upward trends. Both of these things, especially ASTS, both of them have it. So really high short float there.
Might have to cut my APLD and look to get back in it. We'll see if I get out of it towards the open. I'll let you guys know. I had this swing short on Friday.
Yeah.
Made money like shorting it on the day trade, and then I got out of that day trade and I took the cash and I said, you know what, just swing it short. And I was up pretty good towards the close too. I was just trying to see if for any reason we'd get a little bit of a gap down today. I could sell into that gap down, but instead it is coming back a little bit. I'll be watching for it. I'm definitely not going to let it go into the red. If it goes like back through like my entry, which is 1468, I'll be looking for a move above 15 to short. But I really think this one is extended. I don't think it really deserves this kind of move. But you got to be careful with these names, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it is a kind of a rocket here. And my biggest thing is that you're really extended. You were, especially on Friday, you were like way away from the Bollinger Band. That was another reason it gave me the sign of maybe like today was the topping sign. So I'll look to see if we can even get back to that high. That's 1542. If we can't do that, I think we can get a pullback right back down towards the 90 MA, which is 1145, which gives a huge potential reward, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to be willing, I think, in this type of trade to get out and then get back in. That's going to be the harder part. Being willing to let it go is actually a harder thing than just to hold on to it and get a big loser out of it, right? So you got to be willing to step out and wait for the price action to go back to where it was on Friday, which was a quick free fall, right? So we'll see what happens on this.
Yeah, and that's one of those. It's the you try to take probably 3, 4, 5 little tiny cuts, and then when you nail it and something like this, let's go. Yeah, even if it just comes back to test the breakout of $10, it's a 30% down move, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you just got to keep the wrist tight and then look for the bigger move. And it's really going to come with, let's say, a potential day that we actually get a down move in the market, right? Because that's what's going to need to really kind of give you that real juice down. But I thought that, maybe we could get a little bit of some down here. We'll see what happens out the gates, guys.
Yeah, and I think we're kind of in the mode of there needs to be an excuse for down moves. Like, right, we're up so much that the market's looking for an excuse, just can't find it. Now that, right, everyone is not short, I still think, right, all-time highs are kind of inevitable here, but
yeah,
that everyone being short was my my sign to be as pulled up as I possibly could. Now there's less of that. I'm certainly not going to bet against this amazing trend, but there's not that absolute need for every dip to get bought up, right? That was a symptom of the whole world was short. If you wanted to be a contrarian, you had to buy stocks, right? Anyone who was betting that the market was going to sell off then was just kind of going with the herd and going with everyone else that was short. Now that's changed, right? Where they're not very long, but they're not short anymore. So that there's not that desperation of, oh, we need the market to dip a little bit so I can buy stocks. We don't need to dip a little bit because, again, we're going net long now on the market. So that to me makes me think there can be a little bit more back and forth and less of this every dip is just going to get chased in and aggressively bought like we've been seeing. So kind of sucks, right? I miss those times. Those are fun times where you just wait for the market to dip and you YOLO in whatever you have. But now that the positioning has switched a little bit, we have to pay a little bit more attention because, again, they're not short anymore, right? And they weren't across. I just showed you the SPY, but I went through all of these, and right, bar chart is a great place to do it, where you can just go to their website and for free they update all those. And I went through everything, and they've been they're now kind of net long across the board. Not a lot, again, still still some catch up they need to play, but
Yeah.
you know, even the cues, which they were, you know, really short for a long time, they've kind of flipped on here.
Yeah, definitely be watching to see what happens out there. And I think we're getting close. I think we get towards the all-time high, maybe even slightly above. But after that point, I think it's going to be a tough sledding for the rest of the year. And I think that's where we got to be watching, right? Is it going to be a better second half of the year, or is it going to be better first half of the year? I mean,
Generally
see what
speaking,
happens.
if you go with seasonality, second half's usually way better.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people are saying that it could be the opposite this time around. We'll see what happens, right? I think that's just what it normally is, right? Normally we get a hot Q4. Really, that's the month to look at.
Yeah,
But we'll have to wait and find out.
well, so far, right, if you're looking at the absolute numbers, which all these seasonality does, the first half of the year yield us 1.5%. So the question is, right, is it better or worse than 1.5% higher? I'm going to bet we're up a little bit more than a 1.5% at the end of the year, after we've already seen the bear market. Like we.
Все тормозит жестко. Так, ну,